Well, evening, you guys. Good to see you. Somebody shut the door first. Okay. So, but, this is my little notes. I always forget what we're going to do. Do we have any guests? Anyone new today or a guest? Any guests? Okay. Yeah, go for it. Do you have
the microphone?
Where's the mic? Tell us who you are. All signs. What?
Tim Gross, KI0E from Napa, down in town, doing some stuff at CSI and timed out to come again this year.
Well, good.
I think I was here last year for the same meeting.
Same meeting. I don't remember the bald head, so. Did you have hair back then?
Had a little more. The wife cut it just the other day.
Okay.
Once a year, Eric.
Let's go ahead and start on this side with either Gordon or Kelly. Give.
I'm AA7TQ and Gordon.
K7SU Kelly from Curry.
Kent, KB7N, Goody. Turn that.
Yeah, what's going on?
Oh, I'm sorry. There's a row. KK7.
Leo. Oh, couldn't hear you.
AK7STQ.
Actually, not hear anybody. Hang on a second, guys.
Which on the lights?
No, nothing works. Should be. Thanks, the battery.
Does anybody know anything about radios?
The wrong place.
Well, closer. It's just closer now, I think.
It's just probably doesn't have enough juice to.
Yeah, that light, that's a new It's not even enough to make the light come on.
We don't have any batteries.
Yeah, I do.
No, thank God, not the.
That's right.
I go.
I want it too. Oh, it is good? Here's a new battery.
Yeah, it's
Always prepared here. The voice.
Good. You guys look good. How many volts is jelly? 9. That's not.
Okay.
What?
Yes, yeah, your filling started over the years.
I did not plug it in. Okay, let's start with Kenny.
Turn the speaker around, so it's basically on.
Okay, here we are. Ready? Set. Go.
Testing.
Yeah. Leo, go ahead.
You have Leo Kimberly. This is Mike.
We need a new mic.
AK7 UQC Andy from Filer.
K7 BIN and Filer.
Is that me?
Yes, I think so. Step back.
I think we.
KOA off Dirt Road.
Good job. That's something BKH, John and Kimberly.
Use your radio voice.
What?
KK7UQA, Yo, Idaho.
K7TLE Tracy Jerome. NHYR, Nancy from Filer.
AI6WOP, Greg, from Twin Falls.
Bill, W7AAZ, Twin Falls. Ron, Buell, W7 LVG. Gene, KA3 JKV.
Oh, we have 7 Twin Falls.
Stan, K7 NCF, just South Falls. Ken, AS6 QB, Twin Falls. Russell.
KG7 RAK, good. Jim, W70UU. Twin Falls. I'm Terry, KK7RAR. Hey guys, our next meeting will be July 14th. And we hope to see you there. And I'm hoping that Mr. Jim will have a presentation for us on some stuff on the antennas. We're always looking Well, let me just ask you, do you guys enjoy the presentations that we do? Are they worth it or not?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, then I need you to help. Because, these ideas run out quickly. And we've used a lot of things and done a lot of things, and coming up with new ideas is not always the easiest thing to do. So if you have an area, like, they talk about that Meshtastic thing a while back, and we talked about PODA and all these things. If you have any area that you enjoy, that we would enjoy, let me know so I can get you up here to do this.
Hey, ask them what they want to know about antennas.
Do you want to know more about antennas? Anybody with antennas and stuff? And I asked her, I said, what about like portable antennas, like when you're traveling or anything like that? Is there any other area of antennas you are interested in?
The VNA, one of them will. The nano VNAs, little nano bits. Oh, the nano VNA. We were gonna do that, we never have. Yeah, what do you do with nano VNA if you want? I don't care. Good. I just want to learn about those antennas, the VNA.
Yeah, I think we
Okay,
had,
we'll do that, we'll do an antenna with a nano VNA.
Cool.
Yeah.
see how easy it is? Now, if there's other guys that have ideas, let us know, because we would like to hear and have you do the presentation. It's not hard. And it's beneficial to all of us guys. Some of us haven't been in ham radio for that long, and other guys have been in ham radio for like forever, and so we enjoy it. And so we need your information. Paul, how about a treasurer's report?
We got about $2,100 in checking savings.
How much?
2,100.
2,100.
Better way to spend that.
A new microphone.
Good idea, yeah.
One that works.
How about a salary increase for the president?
Yeah, double what you're.
You guys can send that.
Yeah.
We did what?
Did pretty good without the microphone.
Yeah, I think that sometimes I think the microphone's not really needed. Okay, a few announcements. In case you guys forgot, and I don't see how you could, Field Day is coming up June 28th and 29th. It's the last full weekend in June. And we'll be talking a little bit about that tonight, not a whole bunch, because we're going to go up with the speaker. But plan that. We need everybody to come that can come, and we'll talk about more of that in just a minute. We're going to have, remember we talked about Parks on the Air, and we wanted to have a club meeting and do that? Well, we've got it scheduled, and it's going to be August 10th. I think that's a Saturday. Actually, I didn't even look, but I'm pretty sure it is. Anybody look real quick?
That's a Sunday.
Sunday?
Not good.
August 10th. Anyway, it's going to be at the Malad Gorge State Park. Y'all know where that's at? Okay, well, we'll let you know later. But it's a neat park, and there's a great gorge there. You can walk over and look down, and be glad you haven't fallen over. But it's a really nice park down. So we're going to be doing it, and they've got bathrooms and everything like that there, which is really nice. That'll be August 10th. So write that on your calendar. August 10th.
What's the time?
Don't have a time yet. Don't have a
How
time
can we
yet.
have so many people talking when our president's talking? I
Yeah,
don't understand.
thanks. Let's split out if we're gonna have conversations. I can't hear and I'm half deaf.
Thank you. Anyway, August 10th, Malad Park. That was the last place I was at. Also want to remind you, on Tuesday nights, we have our Tuesday night net. And we meet at 7 o'clock on the 14676. We have different hosts throughout the month. We appreciate all those. Paul is probably one of the newest ones in there. I appreciate it. John, where'd John go? John's back there. John, I do one, and a couple of other guys that aren't here. But what we do is oftentimes almost every time after the check-in, we do what's called a round table. And basically we just stick around for a little bit longer. And usually I come up with some questions and something to talk about, and we all give opinions, and some of it's just kind of fun. We talked about sometimes what was your first car, that you had when you're growing up, and things like that. Maybe your first girlfriend, which we talk about when your wife's not there.
Yeah.
Things like that. So we have a good time, and we talk about radio stuff too, but we just try to keep it all over, Okay, and we're going to have Nathan. I want to talk about it in just as well. I might as well do it now. As you see, we have this neat little what are they called? Name tags. And what we're doing is we're asking you guys, there's $7, Nathan, is that what we decided? $7 for these name tags. And we don't get anything. Nathan's school gets the money, I think, for the kids and stuff like that. And what we're gonna want to do is want to wear them when we're here so that when we're meeting new people and people meeting us, we get to know each other and all that. We're looking at, we haven't decided absolutely yet, but we're looking at that if you wear one of these, then when you buy the half pot ticket, you get one extra ticket for free.
Good idea.
You gotta wear it though. And your name has to be the name that's actually on the ticket, on the name tag. So I can't be Kelly and then Gordon and then can't get different tickets.
I've been wanting to put a quarter page on the website, but there are too many issues. That's why I haven't done that yet. So we need to sit down and talk
Okay.
about some solutions.
What we're gonna do right now is Nathan's here. He would have been nicer to be here 30 minutes earlier, so, okay, but, well, we've got people wanting to do it, so since we're gonna have to do this afterwards then. If you want one now or afterwards, Nathan will stick around. He wants your name, your call sign, and $7, cash. He doesn't have credit card, he doesn't, have a bank account for checks. So if you have a $10 bill and you know,
I probably got change.
okay, and so that would be great. So stick around and are you gonna try to get them for
I'm going
field?
to try to get them for Bill David. The only problem there is that we're still moving the equipment, so I can't guarantee it, but I'm gonna sure try.
Okay, but we'll have for sure next meeting.
We should, yeah.
We will have for sure next meeting, right?
It's called, I'm a teacher in the summertime. I'm doing best, I'll have best.
Okay.
We should have it.
Okay.
We don't really care.
Well, yeah.
I just don't have the exhaust hooked up. I don't wanna go put a second.
Okay, anyway, so see him right afterwards and get your name and your call sign to him. And that would be good.
But I am gonna try to have my.
Okay, yeah. I know the guys want to, get their free tickets as soon as possible, so I think that's. Okay, we have, besides having, this is what they look like if you haven't seen them. He made some for us to take a look at. And this is Bob's idea of K6UDA. And he had it at his last club and it was good. Because, like this guy here, of course, he's not in the club, but it would have been nice just to look at his. And how many times do you guys look at somebody and you know them, but you can't remember their name? And especially after 70, 75 years old. I know you're, I think, yeah, I'm your son, Dad. Oh.
You can't beat that either.
Yeah, so anyway, okay, just a few infos on, Bob left me some notes here, so I'm talking for field day note stuff. Setup will take place on Friday, the 27th. That's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday's the day for the field day. And I think he starts about noon, right, Jim? Isn't that usually when they get together for that? And it operates from noon on Saturday till noon on Sunday. We plan on having a barbecue on Saturday, probably around 5 o'clock, give or take. So we'll have hot dogs and hamburgers and stuff. So come and work the radio, visit, get to know guys, do stuff, and then stick around for some hot dogs and hamburgers. And that will be fun. Right. Ken and I volunteered to cook the hot dogs and hamburgers. For a small tip, we'll make sure that it's cooked the way you want it. With no tip, it'll either be rare or burnt. So I'm just kidding.
It may be that way anyway. That's it.
Okay, that's one note. Okay, I'm trying to hurry up, guys.
Mary?
Good.
Bob said if somebody wants to camp, you are welcome to. I know there's a couple of us that are thinking about it, so you can bring it Saturday or Friday, leave it there and then be able to stay there overnight on Saturday.
Yes, in fact, I've got you right on here, almost next here. Tracy, where's Tracy or something? Get Tracy all of the FD computers. Oh, Tracy gonna do the computer stuff, hooking it up?
Yep.
Okay, so he needs the computers to get them updated for so that we can, is it for scoring and stuff like that and checking?
For the logging, yeah.
Okay, login, okay.
As long as they're all set up, we'll be good to go on Friday.
Okay, good, thanks. So does he have all the computers or are we?
I'm sure Bob still does.
I think if Bob has him in the tub.
Okay, good. They'll take care of that. And Oscar, which he's just mentioned here, is in charge of camper parking and field setup for the campers and stuff. So if you want to bring a camper and hang out, he'll be directing you where to go and all that kind of stuff. RD is going to lead new technology updates. You're going to just talk about it. Is that pretty much the plan? Or do you know yet?
You know what that means? It's undefined, so I can define it.
Yeah. Well, these are Bob's notes. So, and he just emailed them to me. So I'm going from that. So, Kelly, to do a press release, invite Jackie Fry. I don't know if you knew all this stuff. You got one of these too, didn't you? Yeah. Sheriff Johnson, Rep. David Levitt, as
I have a commitment from Dave Levitt to be there.
oh, good. And Kelly's going to deliver the antenna trim
Yeah.
and set up in Jim to deliver the mast trailers Friday, right, Jim? Okay. And Jeremy will deliver the comms trailer, the Aries Races trailer. He said we need somebody to do pictures and videos, somebody that take some pictures of all the activities we got going, so we can put it on the website. So if any of you enjoy doing that, you have a camera for it or your phone, just let us know, volunteer when you're there.
Can we get a commitment now?
I could use one. Does anybody like to do that? Would like to say I'll be there? You don't have to be there full time, can you? Okay. You might want to bring an extra chair, like a camp chair or something to sit on, because we just don't really have enough chairs there. So
Bring a chair.
bring a chair.
I learned how to wait that
BYOC.
shit.
Yeah. Gordon is going to do update on VE test on VE testing. Yeah, on VE testing. So you're going to be doing that at the meeting or at the one of the things he wants to do is we're going to have he wants to have a testing tasting time where we have all these prepper type not frozen, dried food and stuff like that, like Mountain Home and all that stuff. And he wants to have these little cups and we make some so you guys can test to see what they taste like. And I know that one program I like to watch, they did that with I think it was called Patriots food, and they thought it was absolutely disgusting. So if you're going to spend money on some of these things, you might want to taste them. Like I've had this. Is it called Mountain Home or Mountain?
Yeah, Mountain.
Is it Mountain Home? And those things,
Yeah.
those things, I like them. I mean, I would not mind eating that for dinner, and it's really that good. So
Let's call that emergency food testing instead of prepper test.
okay, emergency food testing,
Good job.
in case you have to prep with that emergency food testing. But I don't know why people have a hard time with the word prep. We prep for something it doesn't
I know.
follow through here.
There you go. It's the fine.
And if you don't do a colonoscopy, you might end up with something you wish you didn't have, right? But anyway, even if you never need anything like this, it's nice to know if you did want something, what's out there and what not to waste your money on, okay? We've got the Starlink. We'll be running that for the first time officially. That's cool. You guys know we bought that, don't you?
That's in the trailer?
It's in the Aries. No, it's not. It's at Bob's house. But it's meant to be run for whatever we need it for. We didn't want to leave it in the Aries trailer and not be able to get to it. So we have it at Bob's house. And I think
That costs
right around 500 and something. You do know that we got a grant, or somebody gave us a gift of $5,000
When did that happen?
months ago. And remember when we talked about the Starlink here at the meeting one night? Well, after the meeting, one of the guys came up to me and says, how much would you want for, we're looking for trying to get either donations or somebody to, what do you call it, cover for us, help us and stuff like that, organizations. And I said, he said, how much would you like? And I said, well, how much you got? I'm a negotiator.
And he says, well, 5,000. I said, you got $5,000 that you connected with it for the, you could give to us? He said, yeah, if you want that. And I said, yeah, we want it. And so, 2 weeks later, we put it in the bank.
Then why do we only have $2,000?
It's in a different
That's
account.
a separate account.
Separate account.
That is, that- and that's,
the offshore account.
that's from my trip to Hawaii, okay? No.
It would be.
Yeah, okay.
Official if the club members do.
We have, how much is in there right now?
That's
After
44.
4,400? Okay, we put that in a separate account to use for that kind of stuff. We can use it, we don't have to use it just for the Starlink. We can use it for emergency stuff and equipment that we may need, but we don't, it's a separate account altogether. So we don't accidentally spend it. We don't, we have, this is the budget, this is the money we have.
$500. I think that should be something the club knows about.
But we did, that was months ago.
No.
We covered that. The board
That
went
was
to,
voted on in the club?
yeah,
Well, that's
okay,
I think you missed the meeting, Jim.
yeah, you must have, yeah. But yeah,
When I was in office.
anyway, so that's a nice thing to have. We won't squander it, but we have it if we need it for something we need. Something in the areas or something at the club and stuff like that. But we do have it in a separate account, so it doesn't get spent unless we deliberately go there to use it for something, and then the board, of course, all that kind of stuff. So it is there, and we're very careful of that. Okay, I think I have gone through everything that I really need to go through necessary. I think if he wants to have a go-to station, we'll see what happens on that, I guess. And a few other things. Okay,
Are we gonna decide on how many transmitters we're gonna have right then, right? When everybody gets there, it's
I-
gonna see what we got going.
that's you and him were talking about that. I'm pretty much left out of that part. So I don't really know how to answer that.
I don't think we're gonna decide on whether we're a 3 or a 4 or a 5 until we get everybody there and see who wants to operate and how they wanna operate. And
Yeah,
because we don't want anybody to go there and not be able to operate when
Right.
they were planning on it.
Yeah.
So,
the last time we had the, what was it, Kirsten, what was the last meeting we had, or the last,
it was in May, the May 11th or something like that.
what was it, was contest, what was that?
You so far?
Yeah, last time we had that, we just used 2 radios that he had inside his.
No, we didn't do it.
I did it,
Oh, that's right. He did have a little thing. Okay.
yeah, so I worked it, so anyway.
That's a little different than field data.
Yeah, it is, but I mean, we did, that's the radios we were using, was his radios inside there. Any questions that I might be able to answer? No guarantees on this. Any, on field day or anything else?
What time is the set up on Friday?
12,
How many can make it set up?
could you be doing the antennas, right, Jim, on that day? Set up the antennas like we usually do on that? Yeah,
Won't be there till after me and my class. Actually, not supposed to put that in after Friday, are not all of us are required.
You can.
Friday at noon, I thought, right?
Yeah.
Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Friday
I
at
don't remember
noon.
what the time frame is, but you can start setting up on Friday.
I think it's 4 o'clock.
And if you wait until late Friday, and I don't remember the time, you can actually operate for 27 hours instead of just 24. So
Yeah.
you can run till 3 o'clock instead of noon.
I think that's if you wait until Saturday morning. to
Yeah,
start
If you
setting.
set up Saturday
It's-
morning.
Well,
then
it's,
you can.
Yeah.
You get watch hours.
yeah,
Used to be to have.
You set up prior to,
Before
and
noon.
you.
Yeah.
and you're limited to the total number of hours you can set up beforehand, no matter what, but I don't remember.
Seems like I heard it was 4 o'clock on Friday. You couldn't start setting up till 4 o'clock.
I thought it was 12,
That's true.
wasn't it 12?
See, I
I
think
don't know. I have to look.
they changed it like last year and it's much earlier than it did. But yeah,
I think last year we were there at
Well,
12.
we could take,
Bob will know. You can look at the.
good idea. Why don't we take a look at the rules? Whoever's in charge of your.
terrible.
God, Jim.
I know.
How can we cheat if we know?
Well, we can take the tower curtains out.
Yeah.
Just can't set out.
Well, how long does it usually take you to set those up? Couple hours. If
Mine, it only takes about 15 minutes.
Well, the one that we have with Kelly took longer than that.
Well, you can get it set up in 30, 45 minutes. If you got good help.
Yeah.
You got help, got
No.
put the antenna together. That's the biggest, that's. the
We're getting
biggest
it down to a science now.
What's that?
I mean, setting up the tower.
Yeah, we do it.
Okay, we're gonna go on with the program. Anybody else have anything before we get started? Okay, Gordon, it's all
Yes.
yours. You want this thing, Gordon?
I do.
Don't forget afterwards, get a hold of Nathan, get your tags.
It's a key.
You see, Vance, hey, Dave, you get out of here before I see you. Can you get me another bag? I set mine somewhere and I don't know where.
Oh, my.
You lost it already?
Yeah, I lost it at the airport. They gave it to me. I haven't seen it since the airport. Oh,
You ought to ask, you ought to ask him.
I listened to that guy in the radio this morning, he mentioned your name.
You ought to ask him if we have
Said
it.
the guy used to be here.
About $15, so our tags on this too.
Okay, if I can have your attention up here, I would like to talk about CW. Because that is my favorite mode, and that's where I got started in 1970 as a kid in high school. And CW has always been like magic for me. Because it's hard to believe that you can talk all over the world from your house and, even a wire antenna. And so I was raised in California on a peach ranch. And once I did join ARRL, you get a lot of information. I bought my first key, and this was it. They didn't have the wooden part. And and with peaches, you got to put props underneath those limbs, because when the fruit comes in, all their limbs are going to break. So I cut off part of a prop and then put that key on there. And I had a straight key. So that's a straight key. And that was my first key. And then I never really used a bug, but later I got a bug. This is a bug over here. And with the bug, it's got weights. And you put the weights towards the end to make it slower. And you can slide the weight up, make your CW faster.
Awesome.
Yeah. So anyway, then I got the Brown Brothers CW keyer here. That was my first keyer. And then about 6-7 years ago, I got what's called a Morcerino. Raise your hand if you've heard of a Morcerino before. That's a pretty cool item, and I'm kind of ticked off because I've got it and it's not working right now. And because I was going to show it, but it will, you can vary the speed on it. It's a trainer. It'll have A, and then you put an A, and it's kind of touchy if you don't make the A just right. It's error, it says error. And do it wrong, error. Paddle's real touchy. You get it right, puts an okay and a nice little tone. And you can do words, you can do letters, numbers, yeah, all different characters with that. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. You can also put your key, plug it into that, because that has little tiny paddles on it. So anyway, that's the Morcerino. And this one, I need to thank Kelly Class, because I got this Bengali at a swap meet, and it had somebody else's call on it. And I said, ask Kelly if he'd help me out, and he lasered my call on it. So, and I have 2 of these Bengalis, and I consider those like the Cadillac of keyers, and they're nice and heavy. They're great.
Is it working?
Is anything going to work today?
How's that?
There we go. Okay. Now, if you have a list of all the letters with the dots and everything,
throw it away. Throw it away. You say, well, how am I gonna learn it if I can't have the paper? Well, you could go online and you can learn the code, and you should learn it by sounds, not by counting the dots and the dashes, because it's gonna slow you down. This is the way I learned it. I learned it this way. And then you have to relearn because you're saying, let's see, that's did ah. Well, you shouldn't. You should be able to hear it. The A, and you know that instantly that's an A. So anyway, you really should be learning it by sound, and there are a lot of online programs that have that you can learn the code by.
That's not gonna work.
Worked at home. How come nothing worked here?
I don't,
Okay,
I'll just do it for you.
now I'm a CWOPS member, and I teach Morse code to beginners, and we use the Morse code trainer, not the international, but the American, and you set it up. You put your call in, where you're from, your name, the antenna, how much power you're running, your age. Okay, then what you could do is you can learn the characters, and you can have words, and you're starting with session 1. You're going to start with some simple ones like E and I and T, and then as you progress, you're going to get more letters. Let's go to the next one. So, for example, it will have it'll send A, and then you'll listen, and then it'll say A afterwards verbally. So that, and then you can play it over and over again. Then you go to the next one. These correspond to lessons with CW Academy. So when it says session 1, and it has you would follow along with your homework. It follows with the homework. And then the character means the character speed. And so that's set at 25 words a minute. And there's a reason for setting it up high. You might think, well, why don't you set it for 5 words a minute? Why don't you set it slow? Because that's going to hurt you when you start to progress. Then you're going to have to learn again with a higher speed, that character speed. The number here, the Farnsworth, is the space between letters. Higher the number, the faster the letters are going to come. Lower the number, the bigger space between the letters. Yes.
Are you writing any of this down as you're listening?
No, but I'll tell you what we're going to write down. Let's move on to the next one. Okay. A DIT is called a one-time unit. And a DAW is 3-time units. You thought, well, what do you mean? Well, let's go to the next one. Here we go. We've got an S here. DIT, DIT, DIT. Well, between each DIT is another one-time unit. And then you have a DAW here. You'll notice that's 3-time units. You say, well, why is that important? It's very important, because when you're trying to copy somebody's code, if it's fouled up, you can't copy. Let's go to the next one. In between is called intra-character space. And here's the S, and there's a DAW, there's T. And inter is in between letters. And there between letters is 3 spaces. Okay, let's go to the next one. And once again, it's the same thing. Let's go to the next one. All right, now, here's where it's important. This was out of Audacity and recorded from the air. This person wanted to send eat. Well, this is actually da-da-da-da. It's more like I'm. Here's an I and here's an M. Well, that's a problem.
Huh?
It's really not even that. It's
It is screwed up.
Donda has nothing.
Let's go to the next one. Here, that. It have an E and an A and a T, so there's E. So you can see how it was really screwed up in the first one. Okay, next one. At 25 words a minute, you can see the DAWs, and then you can see the DIT, and the DAWs are, 3 times the size of the DIT. You can see that verbally, right? Okay, at 10 words a minute, you can see also they're wider, and then it's 3 times the size of one of the DITs. Yep. Okay, let's go to the next one. Now, this is Audacity. I never understood when I was in 1970 when I became a novice. They said 5 words a minute. I thought 5 words. So what's that mean? Well, they have used the word tariff as a standard. And if you look at this, you'll see that this is PARIF, Paris, and it took 3 seconds to send it. You see that? See the 3 there? 3 seconds. Well, if it takes 3 seconds to send 1 Paris, how many Parises could you send in 60 seconds? 20, right. So there's your 20 words a minute. And so that I had to look over and over again, but that made sense. Let's go to the next one. These are things that I think are important. Instant character recognition. That's the faster you can recognize the sound of that letter or number, the faster you're going to be able to copy code. So what we emphasize is working on instant character recognition, going faster and faster. Head copy. What's that? Well, head copy is you're copying in your head. You're not copying on a piece of paper. You copy it in your head, and that just takes practice. And if you copy it in your head, you'll be able to get faster and faster. In fact, the fun of Morse code, I think, is being able to copy it without writing it down. It goes real fast. It's a conversation. It goes really fast.
Most CW operators only write a couple of things down. Usually I just write the name down on my signal report. That's all I write down.
I'm getting to that. That's going to come up. All right.
Getting in the head.
In order to improve in Morse code, you really need to get on the air.
Yes.
It's a lot of people say, well, when I get good at Morse code, I'll get on the air. No, you get on the air to improve.
Gordon,
Yeah.
could I just say too, that if you don't want to get on the air to practice your Morse code, just turn on the radio and listen. Just copy different QSOs. You don't have to talk to anybody if you don't feel comfortable with it. But yeah, just get on there and listen and copy conversations, and pretty soon you'll start to figure out what to say and when, and it all comes.
Another thing I feel is important. Yeah, let's go back.
Backwards.
Okay, if I can have your attention here. One thing that I feel is really important is when you're talking to someone on the air and you've learned code and you're talking to someone, you need to match their speed. It's much easier to send really fast and say, wow, look how fast I can send. You should never send faster than you can copy. Because if you're sending fast, you're telling the other person, I can copy this speed. And then they come back real fast, you're going, oh man, I can't copy that. So you should match it. So if someone's calling CQ real slow, then you need to send real slow when you respond to them. That's just gentleman courtesy.
Can you ask them to go faster?
You can. Well, I would not do that. No, I wouldn't do that because
You can ask.
you can always ask them, and then people are embarrassed. They're not going to, all of a sudden they're going to go away. All right. So anyway, you need to identify your station every 10 minutes. That's by the rules. And you also need to identify your station at the end of the QSO. That's all right. Let's go to the next one. Okay, there's something called the reverse beacon, and that's really helpful when you're doing some of the, what's called the slow speed test. Let's go to, and this is the address for that. Let's go to the next one. And there's also this reverse, see,
Was that the website for it?
well, that is for this one, this one, I'm gonna show it.
Okay.
That is, this is the CW Club R reverse beacon spotter. And we use this all the time. You set this up by these filters. They've got skimmers, stations called skimmers that are listening, and if they see, listen and hear your call sign, they go through the internet, and then you're gonna see in a minute a list of all the stations that are on different frequencies. You could put down people you want to find on these alert. There's an alert here. I've got NJ6Q. He's one of the other co-advisors for the CW Academy, where we're teaching beginners. And there's other people that I want to find. And so I put those on the alert. It's a visual alert. If you have audio alert, then you're going to get a CW if they're sending their call sign. All right, and you can put down the bands that you want found. If you're operating 40, 20, and 15, you would click that and it'll ignore the other bands. You would always put your own call in here. This is the guy that I'm with. I copied it from him. This is his call sign. And it's going to sort by the frequency. Let's go to the next slide. All right. So here I am. It's in bright yellow because I put my call sign down and I'll be in yellow. Actually, NB70 is the one that is following me. Mine's in yellow. So this is the frequency I'm at. And I've got 45 skimmers that are following me. Right here, 45.
Via the internet.
By the internet, that's right, that's right. Because this is all coming from the internet. All right, and so then let's go to, then there's all the stations, all the frequencies are at, so you can find people. All right, and also this is important because if you're looking at here and you want to find a free frequency, you can look in here and you're not going to want to go on 14039.3 because this guy's on there. So you want to be in between and find a free space. Let's go to the next one. Okay, so there's something that we encourage when we're teaching beginner people with Morse code to get involved eventually after they learn all the letters and learn numbers, to something called the slow speed test. And the test is really contest. And after we're done, we record how many stations we contacted, and that's in something called 3830 scores. Let's go to the next one. All right, K1USN is the one that sponsors this event, and they're on, for the slow speed test, they're on Fridays and Sundays, and you need to be slower than 20 words a minute, because this is to encourage beginners to get maybe their first contact. On Friday, one of the guys in the class was so excited. He came back to me and he says, "This is the first time I've ever had a QSO. This is the first time." And I'm ecstatic. And so, and then I sent him a QSO card. A card has my call letters on it. All right, let's go to the next one. This is the exchange. This is what's being sent back and forth. In the SST, this person's name is Pi, sent CQSST K1RV, because that's his call. Then Rick, he sent his call sign N1DC because he wants to make the contact. The person who is calling the CQ is called the runner. He's the runner. And the person who hears him writes it down, and I've lost it. What's the name of the, not the runner, but the Yeah. And then what happens is, he hears him, the original guy comes back, and he puts his own name, and he's from Mendon, Massachusetts. And then Rick, then he'll say,
evening.
huh?
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. GE is good evening. And then Rick replies with, good evening, hi, I'm Rick in Massachusetts. And then he'll say, well, good luck, Rick, thank you. TU is thank you. And then he's on to the next CQ. Let's go to the next one. On Friday, these are all the stations. This is an hour event. These are all the stations that I contacted on 14038. The little checks are multipliers. And if you get a state like maybe Oregon, and then you get Oregon again, you're not going to get a multiplier. You only get a multiplier for one time for a state that you contact. So I had 40 contact in 1 hour. And these are all the stations. And this guy here, it was the very first time he'd ever did contact.
Those 40 stations on CW.
I worked those 40, yeah,
Okay.
in an hour. And I was calling, and sometimes I get pileups and I wait, and it's frustrating, and then finally get someone. Yes.
Was your dialogue pretty much the same for all?
It is. The exchange is like that. This is really for beginners. And I'm on there. I'm not really a contester, but I want to help beginners. It's kind of fun. All right. And so anyway, I know this says 6/9, today's 9th. It was yesterday, but this was according to the East Coast. They're already into the next day. Okay, let's go to the next slide. This is another SST on a different day. Here I am. And some of my friends are on there. Let's go to the next one. Okay, here's the 3830. Here are the scores. I had 40 contacts, 23 states. Some are duplicated with the 40, so you only get the multiplier with 23 states. And then here's my call, and then you multiply it together 40 times, and then you get the score of 920. That was my score. So I was a single operator. I was running high power.
They do this how often?
Fridays and Sundays. Okay, let's go to the next one. All right, this is the basic CWQSO, which you were talking about earlier. Like, oh, I usually just do this, and that. Well, first of all, when you get on the air, you should be sending QRL. That's the equivalent if someone was on single sideband saying, is the frequency busy? Is anyone here on the frequency busy? Anyone use it? Frequency in use. It's in use. Well, CW, you sent QRL, and I put a question mark because I'm asking for a response. They might put yes or sign their call. Then I know I just go to another frequency. Yes.
You don't have to say DE in your call after that, when you do it that way?
Well, if I'm doing that, saying this call, usually then I'm probably on somebody's QSO. Maybe I can't hear the other person.
But I mean,
Technically, you should be putting your
yeah,
call.
normally you would say.
Yeah.
So QRL.
That's right.
CW7.
So then you put, I've been CQ, this is AA7TQ. And then Kelly comes back. AA7TQ, this is K7SU. And then, so thanks for the call. I'd say thanks for the call, RST. I'm gonna talk about RST in a minute. You're 599. Name is Gordon. And then QTH is Twin Falls, Idaho. And then BK is break back to you. And they say, okay, BK, your RST is also 599. Name is Kelly, QTH is also Twin Falls. And BK. So that's a basic CQ. I mean, a basic QSO. Let's go to the next one. Some common Q signals. Q signals are sent so that you can send things quickly. Like, for example, here's QRS asking, remember you were talking about send slower? There's the QRS.
I would send that if I wanted them to set slower.
If I wanted somebody, if I wanted them to send slower, I would send please QRS.
And if you want to offer to send it slower,
You say QRS question mark.
Yeah. Okay, here's another one. QSY, the common ones, change, if you want to change frequency, QSY to another frequency. We talked about QRL, the frequencies in use. QSB means the signal is fading. Signal's fading, QSB. QRP is low power. QRQ is send faster. It's the opposite of the QRS. So these are, I don't use all of these. EVH,
Each
location.
one has a question mark corresponding. So if you say QRS or QRP question mark, you say, do you want me to decrease my power?
Sure.
Or
Okay,
you
QRT.
say, yeah.
If I'm in a QRT, I'm gonna stop sending.
Yeah.
Go here. Okay, let's go to the next one. Rag chewing, that's what I enjoy. The basic QSO is call sign, RST, name, QTH, which we went over. Additional things might be your station's radio or rig, your antenna. You might want to share what your antenna is, the weather. You might say how old you are. And then I think of it like a ping pong game. Once you're done and you send it back to them, they'll probably repeat what their QTH is, what their radio is, what their antenna is. And so that is exchanged. Then I like to make my QSOs even longer. I'll ask questions, and sometimes I'm so far into the QSO that they'll say, okay, you gotta go. They gotta leave. And or the wife needs to talk to me. And then you know that they're tired of you and want you to go. So that happens to me.
They just shut the.
Yeah, okay, let's go to the next one. Common abbreviations, AGN for again, BK, break in. B4 is for before, you can see these, FER for four. I always wonder, they're all three letters, but an E is faster than an O. So that's why you have that. PSE for please, PNX is used a lot for thanks. Use abbreviation. UR for your. And then WX for weather. 73, best regards, VY. You can CU is CU. And ES is and. ANT for antenna. And so anyway, all right, let's go to the next one. All right, the RST. This is when people send a Morse code. If it starts out 1 through 5, if you could copy them perfectly, you would give them a 5. Almost perfectly readable, you give them a 4. Readable with difficulty, a 3. 2 barely readable, and 1, I wouldn't even send it because you can't even hear them. So signal strength, very strong signal is a 9, and then you can see it goes up. Really faint is 1, very weak. Fair is a 4, 7, moderately strong. And then the tone really isn't much of an issue these days for modern radios, but for older radios, a lot of times they would have a hash. The tone would not be clean, and so you could tell them what the tone was. One of my friends got a new amplifier, and he was getting like a 2. What the heck? Well, he had problems with his electrolytic capacitors. There were problems with this hash. It was bad tone. So, okay, let's go to the next one. MST is the next step up from the SST. This is the medium speed test. This is usually on Mondays, and 20 to 25 words per minute. So it's the next step up. Okay, well, the next one. Okay, I know Mike did a great job talking about parks on the air. Here's the exchange for that. The activator, CQ POTA. This is AA7TQ. The Hunter. This is one of my friends, W6XK. The activator would acknowledge it, W6XK. Good evening. You're 599. And I'm in Idaho. Great.
It said 5NN after.
5NN. I put 599 and sometimes I put I-599 and 5NN.
Yeah, means.
Yeah, N means nine. That's right.
Short and sense out.
Okay, so then we've got the Hunter again, which is Chet W6XK. Says, good evening, you're 599. Very strong. So that's what I was trying to think of earlier, the activator and the hunter.
Yeah.
That's what I couldn't think of.
How does he know what park you're in?
Okay, he knows that if he's looked on the webpage for Parks on the Air, it's listed that he's on the air and it have the number of the park. All right, then I like to say thank you at the end, and then the dit, then they'll say dit back. Okay, next. And this is again the exchange again. Let's go to the next one. CWT, that's the fastest. These guys don't always just send with a key, sometimes they send with their computer, and it's really fast.
What sheet?
Yeah, and what you do with this is they use their member numbers. When you become a member of the CWOPS, then you can get a number. You have to be recommended by 3 other operators, and then you get a number. I've got a number. These are guys that I teach with, and so Kevin, it's NB70, and then Jeremy, he's saying thank you, and he says his CW ops number, his member number, and so anyway, this is what happened. This is the exchange for CWT. Okay, and that's it.
Remember